Good morning, guys. I am on my way to meet one of the most inspiring people that I know, who also happens to be a ninja.
I'm Matthew Wright. We got that one clear. I'm a martial artist. I'm a blacksmith. I'm a carpenter. I'm a seamstress. I'm a leather worker. And we're just going to put a labor in there every once in a while because sometimes you just need to shake it up. I was stuck between either wanting to be a monk or wanting to be a martial artist because my ultimate goal was enlightenment. And then I found out that monks didn't get to eat meat, so ninja was a really easy choice. So I was going to devote my time to studying the martial art.
Yeah. What is a ninja then? A professional killer. I've never heard of a ninja before. Do you know what you're talking about?
Okay, that's a really good question because it means a lot of things to a lot of different people. So I'm just going to... This is what it means to me. To me, ninjutsu is the monastic practice. That's the long duration, the choosing the harder path, the continuing every day to know that tomorrow you'll be just a little better. I want to make everything. Everything needs to have my aesthetic, my way. That it's like I'm cheating on the system otherwise. So I think my way of ninja is uniquely that. It is exactly my way. I grew up all over Southern Ontario. Rockwood, Bellwood, Guelph. Moved around every 2 years, it seemed. The first, I think, solid cement step to learning specifically Bujinkan ninjutsu would have been a video course. In like 1999, you got to mail away and they sent you a whole whack of videos. And the objective was they wanted you to record yourself, blah, 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 learn that way. I had now all of the information on how to move and how to go through the different kata. And I would just watch those videos. So my very first was Nicholas Street, downtown Toronto. I was a country boy and I had to find parking. I knew to show up an hour early because that was going to be my first adventure into the dojo. You find this little back door, you go up 2 flights of steps to get into this back little studio. There's guys doing cartwheels on one side, there's sword work going on in the other corner. I was hooked. I said, this is for me, and I had to learn rolling, and I was terrible at rolling. All night I had to just be terrible at something. That dojo lasted for 2 years, but I stayed studying with the dojo for the next 5. And that's, well, it was one day. So the beginning of my class, I would come in and do my 1,000 cuts. That was my warm-up. So I get an hour early. And as I was doing my cuts, my teacher was at the back talking to someone about a live-in program, talking about the uchideshi. And I just stopped and was just totally focusing on that. And when he made the comment of, would you be interested in this thing? Yes, I will totally give up my rank, move into the dojo, start right from the beginning and go all the way to the end. 6:45, had to wake up, get the bed away, to be on the street for 7 o'clock to do our first cardio for 30 minutes. Then we'd go inside and we would do our morning or sun salutation yoga and then end with Lohan, which was painful stretches and stances that you'd hold. Then we would have breakfast at 8:30 and finally coffee. And we would have homework time until 10:30 where the first class begun. So 10:30 to 11:45 and then break time from 11:45 to 2 o'clock. Thursdays I had off. That was 2 hours. I didn't catch up on homework at that time. That was for eating. And then I had my swordsmanship class for 2 hours. And then as of 4 o'clock, ninja training started until 8 o'clock. and that was the day. By 9 o'clock, you were ready, packing up, cleaning the dojo. So you have all the cleaning responsibilities, all of the student responsibilities. You do attendance, make sure everyone's coming in, and then as the months progressed, you would be given kohai. Uchideshi year. I lived in the dojo for a year. That was 5 days a week. We just lived the dojo. If you weren't cleaning the floors, you were throwing someone on the floor. It just, that life became all-encompassing. And after that year, just everything was that martial. You brushed your teeth as a martial artist. You cleaned the floor as a martial artist. That you looked for dust and attacked it as you would an opening on an adversary. Just suddenly, Miyamoto Musashi made the statement, if you understand one way, you understand the 10,000 ways. And that's to be a statement to those that are ignorant. I think in the moment of my Uchideshi, I realized that everything I do is the same. There's minor variations and minor tool changes, but my mind is still the one behind it all, and it just all goes together. So yeah, I had just gotten out of the Uchideshi program and kind of figuring out what to do. And I decided I wanted to stay in Toronto, so I was starting up the blacksmithing. My forge was just north of the city, and I was using the apartment kind of as a gallery and a meeting place. And then it was needing a roommate. So I liked my decor, I had lots of weapons, and I had wonderful yellow paint, and I thought, well, you know what? I am not your normal person. So let's show them this picture, and if they show up, they know what they're getting into.
Yeah. I'll start it off with, like, I was working in the Middle East for a while. I was working in the Gulf for like 6-7 months. I came back to Toronto. I was looking for a place to live. I came across your ad on Craigslist. You know, hi, I'm Matthew. I'm looking for a roommate. St. Clair and Dufferin. This is where we're located. And I remember that piquing my curiosity so much so, where a lot of people may feel like, creep alert, weirdo alert, was weapons. Like, no, to me it was the opposite. I'm like, if anything, even if I don't end up living there, I want to meet this guy. So I remember going up to 1024 St. Clair, 1026.
Ooh, 1026.
1026 St. Clair. I remember you opened the door and like this tall kid from Fergus, just hi, Matt. And the one thing that struck me when I first met you is like your posture. I'm like, wow, fuck, this guy's like, posture is like fucking like a pencil standing up, right? You showed me around the place, and when we got to the dojo room, I remember seeing you're like, this is the room that you're gonna stay in, this is the dojo room, and I saw the dojo room, and there was this big board on the wall that had all these holes in it, right? I remember asking you, what's with the board, man? Like, you know, you're like, okay, hold on a second. And you walked, I think across the room, you had like this treasure chest that was full of, you opened it up and it's full of shurikens. And you took one of the shurikens and you stood next to me, and the board was on the other side of the wall. Pretty sure like you didn't even look at the board, man. You were standing right next to me, you're like, and then you just flicked, started, landed dead center in the middle of the board. I remember at that time I was like, I really want to live with this guy. I think it'll be really interesting. And I think we just shook on it there and then, right? Like we didn't even sign a contract.
Oh, we did. We shook hands. That was
a contract. Yeah, but like
I know. You're right.
Yeah, we didn't sign. There was no. It was a handshake. It was a firm handshake, and yeah, we lived together for 6 months, and you made a desk for me, which was kind of interesting. Which still, 10 years on, it still survived the test of time. I still use it till this day. It's moved to the States and back.
Nice. Toronto's got some, like, I'm sure everywhere has got some weird, but you were just a breath of fresh air coming into that world.
Well, I think what connected us together is like we understood each other's world and way of life in a sense. And I think maybe at the heart of that was creativity. So I think that's the common link. At the time, even though like I have an understanding of martial arts, I'm not as practiced as you are, but I have practiced and I stopped and I came back, but I understand that world.
It's the one at the 10,000. You were creative. You had posters going crazy at that time. We needed to get you a desk and an organizing place.
And we're doing the shipping runs and the printing runs.
We lived in that very similar world. I have what the Shaolin would regard the king of all tools, the bow staff. One of the simplest bits of wood and quite a hard one to create. So it's 6 feet of length, 1.5 inches width, and it's squared, and it's done with all square angles. Traditionally, you could find them round, but with 9 directions. I need to represent the brand continually. So this starts off as one large piece of wood that I need to follow the grain. So if we look on this, and we can follow this piece of grain all the way through the bow, and if you can follow it all the way through, you know you've got real strength in that. If it exits at any point, that will be the first weakness and where it's going to break. So once you determine that, you can start cutting your lumber out, and then it goes onto a block plane to get cleaned up and finished. I've always been wanting to build with my hands, and since a little kid, it was, what do you want to be for Halloween? Didn't matter what it was, I was building it. I'm not gonna buy something that anyone can have what you can buy. When I first started, it was carving. I was a little kid. I was 7 years old, and either my mother trusted me or just wasn't home enough. And I was allowed the circular saw. And I made my first wooden swords. And those things went everywhere with me. But as time went on, then I played with cardboard. And then I would play with paper. And then I started to learn forging steel. These are sai. Originally tools of karate budoka. Ninja will use everything, and these are one of my favorite tools. The sai work after you for all ranges. You can allow them to come in with the pommel, come all the way, hit with the yoko, or hit with the elbow, spin around to deliver blunt force trauma. I think the best part is the history, or at least the history that I understand, that in Okinawa, metal was so rare that they would have carried this more like a badge. Not that they would have had to use this against an opponent, but a statement against an opponent to say that I'm the one in charge here, not you. But if things go down, the sai's always ready to. With the ninja, we have so many tools that are just not available to us. You can't just go and purchase them. But wanting to know how you would train with them, and my thoughts that, well, if these were self-reliant people, they had to live, originally, 11th century, this art was founded, people in the mountains. You were just going around the corner to buy something. If you didn't make it, most likely it didn't enter your life if it wasn't an absolute essential. So I felt like I'd be failing the art if I just were to purchase something or just go without it. I needed to gain those skills. I needed to bring those together. So the katana is sharpened in a very different way than you'd find Western swords. A Western sword you would sharpen back and forth, making a razor's blade, which means you can't do this with it. If you were to do press with a Western sword, you'd cut right in. But with the Japanese sword, because you polish back and forth, you cannot cut. But if I were to move that sword either way, I'll slice right through my hand. So there's a ritual in Japan that's done for good luck, beginning of the year, which is climbing a ladder of katana. And they step on live blades and walk up them, just to do to that one fact of the Japanese sword and how it's polished.
That's the misconception. I think that a lot of people hear the word ninja or ninjutsu, and I think because of media, their mind goes to a time past, like you said. Like it's no longer an espionage. We're no longer in like 14th, 15th century Japan.
Yeah, it's very different. But I think also they have what a standard dojo is, and not to be like raining on the parade, but we're definitely not your standard way of training everything. That I would look at most martial arts and people go, oh, I'm a martial artist. Oh, what art do you do? And they go, oh, da 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 da. And in my brain, I go, oh, so you probably do this once or twice a week. That's great, and like I encourage them. I think that's wonderful, but at the same point, it's like, wow, once or twice a week. You know, we got 24 hours in a day. You only need to sleep X number of them. The rest of the time, you could be working towards your art. That if you can make every moment something, I think that's the distinguishing, at least for me, that when someone says as a martial artist, well, what part of you is a martial artist? Is it the part that clicks on a keyboard, or are you actually putting the sweat down on the mats? And I will add to that, where is your dojo? So I find even those that have given many years and lots of sweat and have some sort of understanding will still be lost in the fact that they have to be in a certain place to do a certain thing, and if not, they can't do it.
That's a very interesting thing that you brought up, especially with this lockdown that we're going through and the fact that dojos are closed, right? So does that mean that you're going to stop your practice, right? And the dojo is, I think it's just in your mind. It's where you want it to be. It could be in the park, it could be in your living room. It's the idea of you need to have the discipline to be like, training should be without crutches, right? The dojo, in a sense, the physical dojo, like going to a gym that's a dojo or a place that's a dojo, in a way it's kind of a crutch. Where if you rely like, oh, I'm not at the dojo, I can't train, like, that's your crutch, right? Why can't you train in the alleyway behind your house? Why can't you train in the park? Why can't you train in the living room? Do push-ups off the sofa. Put your legs up and then do push-ups down. Then put your hands up and you can do so many things, right? Your only barrier is your mind.
Sorry to interrupt, but you could watch television and do punches.
Yeah.
You could do your kicks. That in any moment you can take advantage of this. But again, one of the 10,000. I think so many people will put their dreams and aspirations in front of them and then give themselves an excuse of why they can't reach them.
Yeah.
Just another excuse, another crutch of, I can be weaker or I can be less than I want to be. As long as you understand, which you don't, you are the one that closed that door. You are the one that stops you from training in the dojo, mentally or physically.
Believe in yourself. Don't look down upon yourself. Have confidence in your actions. Work hard. Don't give in to what others will tell you or what others will say. And understand your emotions are there to guide you. Never to stop you or to make you to move backwards, but to guide you. View them, understand them, and move forwards to whatever dream you have. You've only been here once. Make the bloody best of it. Don't waste your time with nonsense or illusion. Grasp every single day. I think that so many can get lost in this perception of what they should do or what they can do, instead of just understanding that time is ever moving forward. You can't stop it, you can't slow it. But it's like water eating away at a rock. If you just use time efficiently, just a little bit every single day, you can go some amazing places. Budo simply is the warrior's way, but there's nothing simple about the way of the warrior. You have to take the harder path. Your life is now of study and in the service of others. You need to no longer react to what is given around you, respecting of others, being polite, being courteous, and understanding that if someone else wants to give you shit, you pick it up and you carry it. You hold on to it. You can deal with anyone's because that's the way of the warrior. You're the one that deals with the world when others cannot. But accept whatever comes to you. Perseverance. Continuing, practice, Budo.
And that brings us to the end of this episode, where we got to know more about the life of this ninja, Matthew Wright. Matthew, any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave our viewers with?
No.
And that's that. Hope you guys liked this episode. Please comment below. Let us know the favorite thing that you liked about Matthew's life. See you guys in the next episode. Peace.